gold for the NBA, but he's the undisputed MVP of real estate, running point for one of the most unstoppable teams in the business. A master of assists. He's got the vision, the hustle, and the winning strategy. Give it up for Rob Ellerman!
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to episode 5 of Fullcourt Press. And today I have a true legend in the real estate business, Mike Frazier. Mike is the CEO of ReeceNichols, which is a big company that we work for here in Kansas City. And he's been a legend in the business for many, many years. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. And we're going to be able to chat with him a little bit about what's happening in Kansas City real estate, but also we've got some big things national we're going to talk about. So clear cooperation, lots of mergers. This is going to be high-level conversation. It's going to be great. So we appreciate you being with us today. Thank our sponsor today, ACM Inspections. We appreciate you being a part of our podcast today. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, a true legend of real estate, Mr. Mike Frazier. So how you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I was going to go through like all the accolades that I know about you, but really all I knew is a little bit about like playing JV at William Jewell on the basketball team.
I'm not even sure it was JV, maybe
freshman team.
Team. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about your background, where you came from, how you got into real estate and all of that. And instead of me, throwing you under the bus a little bit.
Sure. Well, again, thanks for having me. So I started my career, I went to William Jewell College, played a little basketball there, and graduated, went into banking from William Jewell. From there, I got recruited by Hallmark Cards to run their payroll department, and then into the finance division. I bought and sold card shops for about 3 years. I was on the road traveling and analyzing acquisitions and divestitures in their card shop model. And then the last 4 years, I was at Crown Center Redevelopment and their real estate arm, running the hotels and the retail shops, all their office buildings there. And then they had a condo tower and an apartment complex. And we converted the apartment complex to condos. We used ReeceNichols to help us. And then Jerry Reece recruited me and said, you need to be over here. So
sounds familiar to me. Yeah.
So he's the master recruiter.
He is the master recruiter for sure.
So that was 2007. He recruited me as the CFO. Says, it's an easy business. It's great. And then the market crashed and we went through a huge recession, and that's how I got gray hair.
Oh, yeah. Well, that must have been a bad recession.
Right. So this is I'm on my 19th year at ReeceNichols. So I'm in the 19th year, and it's been remarkable working with people like you and all of our agents. It's a rewarding career because we get to do something that's valuable to everybody. We get to help them with home ownership, and the stuff I get to do on a daily basis and helping you and helping other agents is a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun.
Yeah. So now CEO of ReeceNichols, we have over 2,700 agents.
Yep. 2,700 to 3,000. I mean, it fluctuates on a daily basis. That includes Southern Missouri, Springfield, Branson, and then St. Louis. And we're going to get ready to convert our St. Louis Berkshire Hathaway to ReeceNichols here in the fall.
Yeah. I love it. So give us a little insight to what you do on a daily basis. You mentioned working with the agents and stuff. Are you kind of out of the financial piece of it a little bit now that you moved from CFO to CEO? Or do you still, I know when I get in trouble for spending too much money, you're still in the financial piece of it. So,
well, I think anymore as a CEO, or even what you're doing, you have to be involved in the finances on a daily basis and making sure you're doing what you're doing. But yeah, most of my days spent touching base with people and making sure our managers are going down the right path, have any questions, answering questions from agents. And what I think it's great about our company, we've created an environment and a culture where agents can go direct to anybody in the company and get help, whether that's marketing, whether that's Holly Smith on the legal side, whether it's coming directly to me. That we're in a business that we have to do things immediately. It's really important to get the answer right immediately for our consumer, whether they're selling or buying a house. And so I spend a lot of time just answering questions. Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Hey, I'm thinking about adding this person to my team. Do you think that's a good idea? Or, hey, can we meet and talk about business planning and how I become a better real estate agent? So all those things are what I do on a daily basis, and then just making sure that everything at the home office is smooth and everybody knows who our client is, and that's the real estate agent. We're trying to make sure we make your day as easy as possible.
Yeah, and I think you focus a lot on the clients as well, right? Our clients,
right?
The buyer and the seller. So, and when you do that, it makes your job easier for us to be a part of your family because we're getting so many tools for our buyers and sellers. It's easier that way.
Well, marketing has changed dramatically. Even think about the time you've been here, where we did stuff at ReeceNichols.com, and now we're on social media. Now we're on Google, and
you're dating us a little bit.
Oh yeah, and
Rolodex.
And our marketing team does a great job of making sure everybody knows we're the number one company in Kansas and Missouri. We've got the best real estate agents. We got the best tools and technology to help through that process. And, we're really lucky. Every time a job comes open, we're able to fill it with someone better that develops things in a way that is innovative and helps us grow. I mean, that whether we're talking about basketball, or real estate, everything revolves around getting better every day. That's the expectation of our clients. And we as a company have to get better every day. And just like you have to get better every day as a real estate agent.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned being able to call everybody directly from the top down. And that's been huge for me. Not that I call legal all the time, but there are some stuff we need to talk about with legal, right? And there's things that come up, and there's some stuff that maybe is, maybe on the gray area. And you're like, man, I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing here for the client. 100%, not what I think might be right, but what an actual attorney thinks. So being able to have Holly and Amy on speed dial, they may not appreciate that with me, but I mean, it's been a huge game changer for me.
Well, I think they get rewarded by giving the right answer, right? Mm-hmm. What we do is way too important. We don't think about this enough, that whether it's a $100,000 house that someone's buying or $1 million house, it's someone's life savings that they're putting on the line, and they're trusting us with that decision-making process. We've got to have the right answer. And we're really good that we do that. The lion's share of the time, we're 100% correct on what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so I'm super excited about today because this is going to be one of the best episodes, I feel, because we're going to have some high-level conversation about what's going on, not just in the Kansas City market, but overall in the national market. And it's crazy right now.
It's crazy.
So when you said you would come on, I'm like, oh, this is going to be really, really good. So I get to pick your brain here for a little bit.
Perfect. Yeah.
So let's start locally. Obviously, ReeceNichols, number one company, Kansas, Missouri. How do you feel like we're off to a start here in 2025? How does that compare to last year? And maybe what do you see, kind of moving forward this year?
Well, it's kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I mean, I think we get going, and then the tariffs get rolled out, and we take a step back, and the economic conditions that exist right now, some consumers are still sitting on the sidelines. They're waiting for that time where rates come down just a little bit. We're not going to go back to 2.5% mortgage rates, right. But I think we can get down into mid 5s, and that will create a lot of velocity in business. We're already seeing an increase in velocity. People are out there looking. The people that sat on the fence last year thinking that rates were going to come down, if you just had your third child and you're in a 2-bedroom house, you're going to have to move. Like it's important that you have space. And so we're starting to see that velocity. I think we'll see it even more once we got good economic data today, where the growth was a negative growth for the first time in 3 years in the first quarter of 2025. So I think we're seeing those things that the government's trying to put in place are starting to work. We're starting to see the inflation come down, and that's a big key to us having success. We still have inventory issues. We can't build enough homes. We can't. There's not enough people selling their house. I mean, every 7 to 10 years used to be the metric, and now 10 plus years. So that's hurting the amount of supply that's out there. Plus, there's a lot more investors that have purchased houses in the last 10 years that are not selling them. The cash flow is really, really good for investors who have purchased houses in 2008, 9, 10, 11, or even since then.
Yeah.
So that's probably 20% of the inventory is off market because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned a little bit about the pent up demand. And the parade of homes is going on right now. And so the first weekend I was talking to one of our agents and they said they had over 150 people through, right? And I know there's some looky-loos and there's some decor ideas and things like that. But when you're going out and you're looking at homes like that, there's a chance you're interested in buying, right? And it might not be right now, but it could be a year from now or, 2 years from now or whatever. But that just showed me that like there are still a ton of pent-up demand out there.
A ton. It's, but there's the last 3 or 4 years since COVID, I think there's been a lot of people that have not bought. With the rates going up in 2022 and 2023, I think a lot of people are still waiting for those rates to come back down. Well, we're not going to see those rates again. So at some point, your life choices overweigh what the interest rate is. Like, I got to go.
Right.
And maybe I can't afford a $550,000 house. I'm going to have to look at a $500,000 house.
Right.
But that just means if that velocity is going up, if you're seeing that much demand at your level, then I'm also seeing it like any open houses having 15, 20 people coming through. That just tells me that price is going to go up.
Right.
So you better buy now.
If the interest rate went down significantly, it would drive prices even higher. Yeah. By a ways.
Yes.
I agree with that. Well, the market is, like we talked about nationally, is kind of crazy right now and everything, but you're seeing a lot of mergers happening, right? And I know I get to talk to you, fortunately, about
sometimes not fortunately.
Yeah, well, yeah. But, I pick your brain a lot on, acquisitions. I pick your brain a lot on like profitability, things like that, because it interests me and I want our company to make money. You may not think that sometimes, but I promise I do. So with that, I mean, it's really hard to make money as a real estate company. People don't realize that.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot to it. There's especially brick and mortar, right? And you see a lot of the big companies nationwide, and we're not going to badmouth any company by any means, because we love competition and we think it's good and healthy and all of that. But, there's Compass is public and they're losing hundreds of $millions a quarter or whatever it is here recently. And they're trying to do some things to change that. So talk to us a little bit about trying to keep the company profitable and what metrics you look at and what you see happening there.
Right. So there's different models that are out there. And certainly I think there's always going to be new competition coming up, right? I mean, so there'll be discount brokerages and brokerages that don't charge the agent a lot, EXP, Real, those new companies that have come into the market doing great things. And they're great for a certain subset of people. I firmly believe, and I think you do too, that a full service brokerage helps agents grow quicker, better, faster, and in a more reliable way. So what we try to do is start with culture, have to have good culture, and great leadership. And so those two things are really what's important in my mind. Like, how do we get good leaders that can help all of our real estate agents grow, whether that's, to a team of 200 people or a team of 2 people or just one person.
Right.
Those are all important people that we have underneath our umbrella.
And there's no 100% right way to do it.
No.
Right? That's what I tell people all the time. Like, some people will say, well, I don't want to be you. I don't want to run over 200 people. And I'm like, well, you're probably smarter than me. Right.
Well,
but like one person, 2 people, like I always think about George and Ely, right? Like 2-person team, 3-person team, and just absolutely crushing it. And I think they're some of the best people, and they're making really great money. They're doing great things for their clients, and they're handling things great. So you don't have to do it one way or the other.
What we try to do is match to your skill set. If your skill set is you can manage people, a lot of people can't manage people, and that's okay. Like, so your point with the Medinas, they've got a small team of 3 and they're killing it, but they want to keep small because they don't want to manage other people. Yeah. You, on the other hand, you can manage people, you can motivate people, and that's within your skill set. So, to your original question, what what's the challenge to a real estate company right now is units are down. So as units go down, we make less money on every unit. So, and the real estate agent has asked for more piece of the pie over the last 10, 12, 15 years. So what we have to do is be smarter about where we spend our money. Brick and mortar is one thing, and then our leadership is the other. That's probably the two places we spend the most of our money. And so what we've had a concerted effort to do is, since COVID, fewer people are in the office. So how do we create energy within the office? Because this is a business that you get knocked down a lot like baseball. I mean, you go 1 for 3 and you can be in the Hall of Fame in baseball.
This is a basketball podcast, though.
I know.
We'll throw some baseball in, but just making sure for your next analogy.
Okay. And so if you get knocked down, you need to come down back into the office and get pumped back up, right? And so when we consolidate, we have more people in less space. It saves us a little bit of money, but it also creates an environment for the agents that they get energy from each other. And as you mentioned before, what we want is to have collaboration between our agents so that you can tell someone, hey, I've done it this way. Not to say that they would do it that way, but it gives them perspective. Like, okay, maybe I should try that. Right. And there's 100, maybe 1,000 ways to prospect. And if someone gets an idea from you or from someone else in the office and that helps them be successful, then we're all successful.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry Reece used to say a rising tide lifts all boats. I still believe that. The 100%. More agents we have, the better off we are.
Yep. I agree. And I need that for me, right? I want to come to the office and I want to see staff and I want to see our brokers and I want to see, people working and other agents. And that motivates me to be in here every day.
Right.
And it's just, to me, it makes life enjoyable, right? To be around other people.
Yeah. So. During COVID, I mean, there's probably 20 of us that went to the office every day. It felt weird because there's no one else there, but I wanted to be in the office because that creates discipline for me, but that also gives me the opportunity now after COVID that I can relate with people. I mean, we've got a sales office downstairs of the corporate office, and I walk through there every day and talk to people and say, what's going on? So I get the vibe of what's happening out in the market. So it's, I'm not out there selling, but if you can tell me and I can relate a little bit of what everybody is seeing to everybody else, well, then hopefully everybody grows.
Yeah. And there's always a place for the competition and the non-brick and mortar and all that. And I've got a quick story. I've got a buddy that's at one of the virtual companies. And I asked him one day, I said, man, don't you want to just come into the office and be around people and don't you think that'll make you more successful? And, you just enjoy life a little more and stuff. And he looked at me and he goes, no, I hate people. And I was like, you hate people? And he's like, yeah, I want to deal with my clients. I don't want to talk to anybody else. And I want to work from my kitchen table and I want to be done. And I'm like, you know what? You're probably in the right spot. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think there are companies out there for everybody.
We are in the people business though.
It was an interesting comment, but anyway, so with that being said, talk to me about like the mergers we're seeing. Like we've got, Rocket Mortgage bought Mr. Cooper. We've got, KW's done not necessarily a merger, but they sold some shares. I guess you would, some ownership of that. And then I don't know. I'm seeing this little thing where I feel like Zillow and EXP have a little thing going, and I'm kind of interested to see if maybe Zillow buys EXP someday or something like that. And that's just a Rob Ellerman theory, so we don't want to get that blasted out anywhere. But I don't know. I feel like they have some relationship there that they're really kind of kindling.
Well, I think there's certain pressures on brokerage companies, right? As the margins continue to get squeezed, as units go down, more and more companies are looking at this like it's hard. And so, how do I make it profitable? And again, back to Jerry's analysis, the rising tide lifts all boats. So the more people we have, the better off we are, the more we're protected against downside things like that. And if we can watch our brick and mortar and what we're paying people and do we have the right people in place, then we're good. So, but I do think some of the regulations that have come, the lawsuit, those have put pressure on these, especially medium-sized companies, especially people sit in the middle. You've got the full-service brokerages, you've got the discount brokerages, you've got the people that sit in the middle that are probably neither one nor the other, and maybe mid-sized companies. Well, it's hard for them to deliver everything that a full service company is going to deliver, and they can't drop down to the other to a discount broker. I guess they could, but they got to get rid of brick and mortar and change their whole philosophy. So that's where I think, from a lawsuit, from pressures on financials, there's going to be more and more consolidation and more mergers and acquisitions. I think mortgage has been particularly strapped with, really low rates and then rising rates really quickly. So typically in a market, rates go up and then they come down, and then there's refinancing opportunities. Well, there hasn't been those. So those mortgage companies their margins have eroded too. So a company like Rocket is saying, well, how do I capture more? And everybody looks at the real estate industry, 5 million houses sold on an annual basis. Like, how do I get more of that money? Well, a lot of that money, 90% of that money is going to agents, and the small piece is going to companies. But if the larger companies, if there is consolidation, then you've got, more money to deal with the ebbs and flows of the economic conditions that happen.
So you see several more mergers in the future?
The next 18 months is going to be really interesting in real estate, both from a mergers and acquisition perspective, from NAR. What's NAR going to do? I mean, they got hit pretty hard with this lawsuit. What are the individual MLSs and boards going to do? Like, how do they all make it work? Is there going to be a national MLS? There's pressure from, Robert Refkin from Compass is putting pressure on all these separate MLSs and boards and NAR to give choices to consumers. And I think consumers should always have a choice. So, that's where, we can talk about clear cooperation.
Yeah, you're stealing my thunder a little bit going into clear cooperation. Yeah. So, well, let's just roll right into that. Explain that to the listeners a little bit, what clear cooperation is and what the fight is and kind of who's pushing that fight.
So clear cooperation just basically says that if you list your home through MLS, it has to be available to everybody that's a member of that MLS. There are certain caveats that you can do a private office listing where it's not on MLS. It's not available to see everybody else. Typically, that was for a client that was getting their house ready to sell, or Patrick Mahomes is going to sell his house. He doesn't want everybody traipsing through this house and seeing his house. And so you put it on a private office listing so you can market it separately, individually, on an agent by agent basis. You can't mass market it. It wouldn't be an MLS. And so that's the contention that is out there, is that more and more people want to do a private office listing. And maybe that's true, maybe that's not. I don't know. I think people should have the choice. I firmly believe that an open market is the best market for the 99% of the people.
Right.
To put your house on the market, the more eyes you see it, the more offers you get, the better off you are. There are times where a client could say, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And they need to have that option.
Right. And I think that's where, I'm on the fence on this a little bit, because I agree 100% they need that option, right, for those specific situations. But I also know if the rule is made to let that happen overall, then there are going to be companies, and quite honestly, I'm looking at Refkin on this, right? I mean, he needs to make money. They've been losing money. So how do you make more money? You double in deals. Right. And so if you teach your agents to go out there and tell them that they don't need to be in MLS for the first 3 weeks or the first month or whatever, and you try to double into all those deals, is that really fair to the consumer that doesn't know any different than an agent coming in saying, this is exactly how you need it marketed? So I just feel like that there's a greed push from that aspect of it. But there's also the choice that there's, like you said, a high profile athlete or something like that doesn't want, to put it on the MLS and have it. So I kind of straddle the fence on like, what's the right thing to do? I mean, if agents were truly honest and explained to every single seller out there the benefits, the negatives, and all that, and let them make the choice, then it works.
Correct.
That's not what's going to happen.
Well, and that's the problem with that's the one thing that I don't like about real estate is, we should be looking at this from our client's perspective. What is best for our client? And if everybody looked at it that way, then we'd be a lot better off and better industry. I mean, you've heard me say it's too easy to get a license and too easy to maintain that license. And again, back to what we talked about earlier, it's someone's life savings they're putting on the line. We're putting them at risk, could be, if we sell them a house that they can't afford, or we help them make a poor decision on their home. We should never be in that position. So I think it should be the consumer's choice. I don't think we should talk them into anything. I think a private office exclusive should be something that's in our toolkit. If you want to do that, here's what that means.
Right.
That means that it's not going to be marketed to everybody. I'm going to market it exclusively. It means you may not get as much for your home as you would if you put it on the market.
There's what's probably not going to be said, in my opinion.
Right.
Because everybody wants to make more money, including the agents and the business. And I think it's just going to lead to more fair housing violations and some of that stuff. So I'm just so on the fence on it.
The hard part is you don't know, right? You could put two houses on the same street up for sale a month apart. One gets 10 offers and they both are $400,000. One gets 10 offers and one gets one. It's just a matter of timing. It's economic conditions. It's the condition of the house that exists there. So there's so many factors that's in there. And I want to go to sleep every night and think I did all I can. I was fair and ethical in everything I did. And I think most of our agents want to do that.
Right.
So we are not going to go down a path where we tell agents to do something that doesn't feel ethically right. Now, will some of them do it? I mean, I can't control everybody, but I hope most of our agents will give people the choice, and what the client wants to do is what we should deliver on.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, and then let's turn that up a notch and talk about what Zillow did to counteract, because obviously Zillow has made their money off of agents' listings, right? We give them the feed, they take our listings, and then they sell it back to us for our own leads. So
doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
The real estate company did not stop it back when they should have, and here we are. But so what they came out with is basically saying if you list a house and you aren't in MLS within 1 day, right? Then you cannot be on Zillow forever.
Correct.
Unless you switch agents,
right,
or sell the house and it comes on at a later time or whatever.
Correct.
But so basically, a high profile athlete says, hey, I'm still living in the house. I do need to put it on. Let's put it on private office exclusive. Let's get it out there to a few people, see if we can get it sold. 3 weeks goes by, not sold. They move out. They're like, hey, let's go ahead and put it on MLS and mass market it now. Zillow says you can't be on our site at that point. I don't think that's right.
Well, I mean, they're trying to be the gorilla, right? Because they don't want they don't want what you said could happen to happen, right? They don't want what Compass is trying to do to proliferate across all companies. And that would significantly hurt the amount of listings that are on their site. And so
it may destroy the company. It could, potentially.
It could. So they had to do what they did. I don't know how they're going to implement that. I mean, I think that's difficult, but again, that's where I go back to the next 18 months are going to be incredibly interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you got homes.com on the other side that's owned by CoStar. They're going to make a huge push to gain more market share in that space. So I don't know what will come out of it. A lot of it's going to come back to NAR and MLS. What are they going to do to make it right, to keep people from double-siding these, from not telling the consumer exactly what is going to happen?
But they're kind of in a no-win situation, right? I mean, they if they say, okay, we're going to allow 14 days, or then Refkin's going to say, well, that's not enough. We need 30 days or whatever, and then Zillow's going to be like, okay, well, then you can't be, after 1 day, you can't be in Zillow. I mean, they can't win no matter what rule they come out and say this is what we're going to implement.
Well, that's why I think there's potential that NAR gets dismantled, or there's a new policy-making board that governs real estate. I mean, I'm not for a lot of rules. I think rules make people try to figure out how to get around them. So I'm really not for those. But certainly there are times where we need rules in place so that it's not a free for all market. That's for sure.
Yeah. In this world, a lot of times you say, I wish we could go back, to the good old days and do it the way we used to do it. Real estate's not really one of those worlds, right? Everything's gotten better since I've been in the business.
Yeah, I agree.
We used to have the listing books that you had to read through.
That was a long time ago.
A long time ago, right? And then you've got MLS, and now everything's out there and it's easier and all the stuff. Well, everything that's happening, I feel like, is taking us back to the days when it was way less efficient. Maybe buyers didn't get access to stuff that,
right.
I mean, if we do all these private office exclusives, you're going to have, again, I already heard that there's going to be listing books in some offices. I heard that today.
Oh, wow.
I read an article today that Compass is coming out with listing books and if you're another agent, you can go to that office and go through their book and see what they have. Like, it just, to me, it makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
Like, we're completely going backwards.
Especially in the day where consumers want things now, right? I mean, you got Amazon, you order something on Amazon, it gets there the next day.
Right.
I don't know how at some point the consumer is going to rise up and say, no, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully that's sooner than later, and we don't go down this path where everybody's fighting about, hey, we need to do it this way, we need to do it that way.
Yeah. And what I will say about Zillow, right, as much as you love Zillow or hate Zillow, they have tried to make it good for the consumer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, the consumer has access. It's very accurate for the most part. I know there's some inaccuracies in it, but
it's easy to use. They've done a good job of getting more eyes on their site, and that's helped to us too, right? If we can market that way and more people see our listings on their site, that's a good thing. I wish we have never gone there, but
right.
We're there now, and it's
well, we should have done that. Real estate should have done that with their own site,
correct,
right? And then it would be fine. So
correct.
I would rather see us pay way more dues and get leads back that should be ours that go through. But so that's interesting. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but I think you're right. 18 months is going to be a big. We're gonna know some stuff here in the next 18 months.
Yeah,
even sooner probably, right?
Well, yeah.
This stuff's all coming to a head.
Right. Yeah, and there'll be more lawsuits. I was talking to someone today and talking about private office exclusive, and you put someone on private office exclusive, and the house sells for $600,000, and then a house that's on the market, free market on MLS, sells for $660 a month later. Then what's that consumer going to say? Are they going to be happy with their $600, or are they going to go back and say, you should have never talked me into that?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people have their eyes on the real estate industry right now from a legal perspective, and what kind of other lawsuits can we bring about to real estate? There's just so many transactions, and it's such a consumer focused industry where consumers can get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's so many MLSs too. That's the other thing. And some are a part of NAR, some are broker owned. It's just, I try to keep up on some of this, right? Or most of it. And, the Compass and is it Northwest MLS, I think, they're fighting now, and they cut all the Compass agents off, and then they sued. And so it's just, man, it's interesting. I don't know. Do you?
I just want to sell real estate.
I know. It's just like, do what's best for the consumer,
right?
But I do believe that there is the rare occasion that they may need a private office exclusive that you could go out, not just private office, but to everybody outside of the MLS.
Yes.
You can still market it.
Well, there's, people that have, special needs children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want everybody coming through their house. People have a lot of pets. There's all kinds of reasons why.
I had a daycare. They ran a daycare during the day. They don't want it in there.
And so it's not just celebrities. It is people that have interesting situations that don't want people in their house. If you've got, some kind of health issue, you don't want people traipsing through your house. I get all that. And we need to be able to help those people with the transaction. And that's where a private office exclusive totally works for those people.
Yeah.
Now they know that they may not get as much for their home. They know going into that. Or it may be as simple as someone saying, I don't want to deal with that. If you can get me $600 out of my house, I'm good with that. Fine. Let's put them on a private office exclusive. But again, for the majority of people that we deal with, it's best for them to be in MLS. It's best for most sites. It's best to do an open house. It's best to have people coming through that house. And, most of our houses under 600,000 are in bidding wars anyway. So let's try to get the consumer the most value for their home.
Yeah, that's right now. But when the market changes and there's not bidding wars,
when's it going to change? It's been this way for a while.
I know.
And that goes back to 2008, 9, 10. I mean, we both lived through that, and we lost a lot of our new construction developers and builders. That business hasn't come back to where it was previously. I mean, 20 to 25% of our business at ReeceNichols was new construction. Now we're like 8 or 9%. It's just there's not as many builders. It's not as many developments going on, and we try to get better, but it's a difficult path for them. I mean, with fees that the government's put on those developers,
it's the red tape.
It's a nightmare, and so they're looking at their profitability too, and it's difficult to be a developer or a contractor now to build a home. So those things are going to continue to push supply, and as long as supply is down, we're going to be in this where the seller has a lot of the power.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot then. We've talked about this. Tell me what you think is going to happen with all of this. Like, where do you see clear cooperation? Where do you see Zillow? Where do you see, Compass fighting this? I mean, how do you see it all playing out? What's the crystal ball outlook from Mike Frazier?
I think there'll be more private office exclusives going forward. I don't think many companies are going to do what Compass is doing and hold them off the market. There may be some agents to do it from time to time, but I don't think it's going to. I think most people believe it's better to put everything on the market in MLS. So I think there'll continue to be mergers. I think Zillow's a player here. I'm not sure that Amazon and Google aren't players in the future. I mean, I think there's a lot of eyes on the real estate industry, and see how do you monetize that transaction? Can you make it a commodity? I don't believe you can, unless we as real estate agents allow that to happen. Back to what we do, we help people with that important decision, and it is a huge decision to make. And so we've got to continue to get better as a company, better as real estate agents, and deliver more to our consumers. And if we do that, then this business is not going to change. But if we allow our service to slide, then I'm more worried about like an Amazon looking at this and saying, hey, we'll put all these houses on Amazon and we'll sell them. It's like, oh gosh, well, they've got money, they're profitable. That's hard to compete with. Yeah.
So I may have emailed Jeff Bezos one time. He didn't email me back. It's kind of weird, but yeah. My thought was, this has been several years ago, but my thought was to get Amazon involved but get him involved with NAR and say, okay, let's raise our dues and let Amazon, which has all the servers, right?
Yeah.
And so they could put all the homes online, and literally, if you want to talk about, you look at a house and you want to talk to an agent about it, boom, the link just goes right back to the listing agent because they know about the house. Right. And so, and then NAR pay Amazon, that extra $1,000 a year or whatever the number is, but all of our leads come back and everything's on there. And I kind of figured it up, and I think it was like $1 billion a year profit center for Bezos. And so, my email was like, hey, you want to make another $1 billion a year? And apparently it was pocket change. And
well, I think your point though is I think there is a probability, and I don't know, 20%, 30%, that there'll be a national MLS. I think there's enough people that want that. Now, who can facilitate that and make that happen? That's going to be the question. Mm-hmm. But if we had a national MLS that did that, and then some of that part of that MLS was public facing, then I think we could do that. I mean, that's someone smarter than me figuring that out. But I think that is a direction that could happen. There's a lot of power in the local MLSs and local boards, and that's mainly from smaller brokerages that like to be involved in that. But, that just frustrates the heck out of me. So I don't try to get involved in that. But I think there is some momentum that a national MLS that can control all of it is could have some legs.
Yeah. Well, and not to just, stick with the Refkin and the Compass talk, but, here locally in Kansas City, they have what? A couple hundred agents, 150 agents, something like that. And we have 2,700 to 3,000 agents, right?
Right.
So if you want to hold all your listings off the market, and then if everybody at ReeceNichols decided to do that, they're going to be hurt worse than they're going to be helped.
Yeah.
So, and we don't want to get into that fight because it's what's best for the consumer.
Correct.
But, I think they look at it from a national perspective, and then when you really break it down city to city, they're not the number one market share in many, 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 many cities.
No.
Right. So, it could really hurt the agents that are there in different, local companies.
But, he's focused on New York and San Francisco and Austin, Dallas. He's got good market share in those, and that's where he's focused on right now. And I was surprised he came to Kansas City anyway, but that's a whole different topic for a different
I
day.
I know. We're in Iowa and there's no sign.
No sign of them there.
So that's going to be interesting. Okay. Well, let's move on to a better subject, or maybe, I don't know, that's a good subject, but let's move on to a happier subject. Our guy, Chris Kelly.
All right. Yeah.
Our guy, Chris Kelly.
He's in charge, the man in charge.
He is in charge. So, Chris Kelly, when I don't know if he was here. You started on the same exact day.
Same day. Yeah. March of 2007.
That's right. So I still got seniority on you.
You do.
Yeah. And when you guys started, it was just a great partnership from the get-go. Chris was our lead attorney. Brilliant. One of the few, I don't want to say this and make my attorney friends mad at me, but great personality. He could be a salesperson. He could fit right into sales, but yet he could be an attorney as well. So super smart. And now he is the president of Home Services, or I guess he's incoming, or is it?
He's there.
It's done.
He's the man.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit. How excited are you about? That's a local KC guy that's running the whole company.
Buddy. A few years ago, 2018, when I took over, I think a lot of agents came to me and said, we've got to stop being the old stodgy company. Let's be cool company. Let's try to do things. And I think we've done some things to put in place that we've done that. And I think that's his challenge right now. Like, how do we take Home Services and all these individual companies and not be the stodgy company anymore? Let's be the innovator. Let's be the aggressor. Let's be on a growth path. And so in my conversations with him, since that's been announced, we're talking about, like, how do we get on a growth path? How do we change the direction of the company? And back to what we were discussing, how do we give more to our agents so they can give more to the consumer? How do we become the resource that we are the real estate consultant for all the real estate needs of our consumers? And so he's got a big job, but he's got a lot. Home Services is filled with a lot of great leaders, a lot of great people that will help him. And so I think the future is bright. I'm really excited for the future. Yeah.
So, I don't want to throw myself under the bus here, but it's a very hard thing for you guys to do, to continue to give agents more, but yet we want more of the pie.
Yeah.
Right. I have a team as well, so we see that, even within the team and stuff, and you got to have value, you got to have all the tools, and agents have to understand that stuff's got to be paid for. Right. So, what do you look at when you're talking about growth and you're trying to, because you can't walk back commissions, right? Once they're there, they're kind of there, and you start walking them back, you're just going to lose agents.
Correct.
So what is it? What are the types of things you look for? Do you look at reallocating money?
Yes.
In some instances?
Well, we have to be smart. Like, anytime we say, someone brings something to me and says, "Hey, here's a new idea. We should go down this path." I say, "Okay, what's it going to cost?" And then, is there something that we're doing now that's not of value anymore? And we always got to be looking at that. We've got to be talking to our agents. Like, are you using whatever X is? Like, are you still using that? Is it still valuable to you?
Right.
A couple of years ago, we had that program Alice, where it was a listing alert package, and it came with, once you got a listing, it had like a flyer came out and a door hanger and all this stuff. Well, when the market changed and there's low supply, things are selling so quickly, you didn't need that stuff anymore.
Right.
And so I said to everybody, "Hey, let's look at Alice. how many people are using that anymore? Well, it was down to like, 15 people a week. It's like, okay, that's not valuable anymore. There's $100,000. Let's redeploy that. How do we use that?
Right.
So we've got to be smart with what we're doing. Then if you're smart with your brick and mortar, then that saves us some money too. We've always got to look at our bucket of cash and say, how can we spend it the right way?
Yeah.
And then you've got to be able to recruit. You got to bring people in, Eric Craig team, those people like that, and say, hey, here's our value. And so if we're doing more business, we're making more money, and then we can spend more money. So it's being smart with the choices we're making on tools and technology and the direction we're going.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Well, good stuff. So you think you and Chris can handle that job, or do you need a third person to help?
We always need you.
Yeah.
We'll need you to give us guidance.
Yeah, this will be perfect. Up the commission.
He'll be in Vegas with us in the fall. Maybe we sit down, the three of us, and talk about direction for the company. And I'm sure he's going to be one that reaches out to more and more agents and asks their opinion. That's who he is.
Oh, he's amazing. Matter of fact, yesterday I get a text from him, and he's got a friend that wants to get into the development business, and a younger guy, and he said, hey, Rob's the guy you should probably talk to. And he set both of us up, and I'm thinking, this is the head of our company, helping out a young guy, trying to get him involved in the business. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, but that's the structure that Jerry taught us, and how, we want to be relational. We want to have a great culture. And I think we've done a really good job. And that's all leadership. It's hiring people like Chad Dumas and Don Burns and Amy Ringsdorf and Holly Smith, and those people that really help us create that culture and create an environment where it's fun, right? Because what we do is hard, and it's 24/7, but also that, we can make money and we do things the right way.
We don't talk about culture nearly enough. And that is a massive, massive thing. Even sometimes when I'm recruiting and I'm going through all the value that I have, I talk a little bit about culture, but I don't think I hit on it nearly enough. And out here in Lee Summit, obviously, Chad's done a great job, and even all of our offices, our brokers have done a great job with culture. So I do think that's something, unless you hate people and you want to work out of your kitchen, I think that's a big thing. So
culture is kind of an overused word, right? Like, what is culture? We're talking about how you feel with the people around you. Like, how do we make that feel? We've seen it when we recruit people and they come inside. Like, from the outside, we're like Darth Vader. Like, this is the big ReeceNichols, and they're all corporate and all this stuff. Well, it's really not true. And then they get inside and like, oh, I didn't know everybody cared so much here. And that's really what culture is. Yep. And you do a great job with your team and reaching out to them and making sure they all feel that. And so that's great that we can pass that from the top all the way down. It filters through all our agents and all our teams. And that's meaningful. That is who we really are.
They're in this business, you're competitors, but you're also friends. Right. And so that's what's really cool about, I think, our company is I'm always cheering for everybody that's in all of our offices. And I've had that, some people say that, like, why do you cheer for so-and-so? Like, didn't they get a listing that you were trying for? I'm like, yeah, they did a great job, and they fit that consumer better than we did, And so that's kind of nice knowing that that's part of culture, right? I mean, Cammie Jones' son came up to me last night and was like, I saw your name tag, and I know my mom's talked about you and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're great friends. And Cammie does a ton of business, and her team's phenomenal. And I'm sure we compete on a lot of stuff. Yeah. Right. But, I only want to see her do good things and her team do good things. And I think that's part of what we've been taught here for many years.
We're so lucky that we hire really good people, both on the leadership team, but also agents. And then a lot of times the culture takes care of people that don't fit, right? We don't want, I tell our brokers all the time, we don't want people that don't fit. Like, if they're doing 100 million and they don't do it the right way, I don't want them here. I don't care. It's just that it'll create more problems than they're worth. So we try to get people that fit. And then if they don't fit, they self-select, because everybody will squeeze them out.
Yeah.
Which is great. That says we got really good culture.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So I think we're running up on time here. So I think now we have some questions for you. So we're going to have a little rapid fire round of questions. So let's pop the first one up here on the screen so I can see it. Okay. If you weren't in real estate, what would you be doing today?
If money's not an option, is that?
No. What would you be doing? Like, what would be your job path? Let's go that route. I don't want to hear like, oh, I'd be a professional golfer. Or,
well, if money's not an option, I'd probably coach basketball, high school basketball, or something, do something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I've always done jobs that I thought were fun. I mean, I didn't get into real estate because I liked real estate. Jerry said it's a fun job. I was like, okay, I'll go do that. So
this is coming from a financial guy.
Yeah,
my jobs are always fun.
As you know, I'm not like
crunch the numbers.
Financial guy. Yeah. I mean, I've got that in my brain, but I like the relationship part also. So I'd probably be in some type of sales job, operations job, something like that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I never said starting out I wanted to be the CFO of a company. I just moved through companies doing things that I think that job is cool. I'm going to go do that.
Interesting. Good. So if money wasn't an option though, high school basketball coach. Yeah. I love it. Until you dealt with all the parents.
Well, that is an issue.
Maybe AAU. You can just boot them off the team. So, okay. Question number 2. Your favorite book or podcast that shaped your leadership style?
Besides this podcast?
Well, yeah. I mean, we are competing with the Kelsey brothers here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big Patrick Lencioni fan, and he does a lot of things like the Ideal Team Player. Mm-hmm. I'm not a great reader. I listen to a lot of things. And I glean stuff off of other people. So I like the Patrick Lencioni. I like the situations where, hey, here is how not to manage something, and here's how we changed it. And so a lot of his books, he's got 6 or 7 books. He's got a new one out that I don't have yet that I really want to read and integrate into what we're doing. So that's the team approach, and that kind of stuff is always fascinating to me from playing basketball, and how you relate to people and how working as a team, it's beneficial for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. This is just a little bonus question from me because I've got to prove a point here. I hope I do. But if you listen to a book, right? Do you tell your friends that you read his book, or do you just tell them that you listened to the book, or do you just say?
I always read. I never listen to books. I take that back. We were driving to Colorado. My wife and I went to Colorado in January to see Old Dominion, and we listened to Mel Robbins' her new book, Let Them Theory.
Okay.
So I listened to that. Okay. But I would never say that I read a book and I listened to it.
Okay. That's what I needed right there. Look at Taylor. Yeah. All right, Aaron, you and I won that one against Taylor. So that's perfect, Mike. Perfect. All right. Question number 3. What's your superpower as a leader?
I like to have fun. So if you would sit outside my office and see the people coming through, like I don't email a lot of people on a daily basis at the corporate office. Yeah. I go down the hall and talk to them, but I'll sing or I'll tell some stupid joke or I'll do something that makes people feel good. So, my father was principal of a high school, and I remember growing up, he would be at every single high school event, every football game, every basketball game. And then afterwards, it was a Catholic high school. So, to get people to monitor kids, it was volunteer. Right. So the teachers would come volunteer, but then he'd have happy hour afterwards in the teacher's lounge. And all the teachers bring their kids. That's how I got my love for basketball. I played basketball until 1 a.m. because they were partying.
Yeah.
But not only were all the teachers that were there, the janitor was there, librarian. I mean, like he included everybody. And I learned from that. I like to be inclusive. I don't think any one person in our company is more important than anybody else.
Yeah.
I like to connect with everybody. Everybody has value. And so, and I have a weird ability that I remember people's names, and I can relate to like, oh, that person, I know Taylor's your niece, and
right.
And I know you have 2 kids, and I know both our kids are adopted. I mean, I can relate to those things, and I remember them.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know how I do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're very genuine, right? I mean, I think you really do care about what happens. And you and I have had great relationships, relationship over the years, and we've had our arguments, and we've had our no, this isn't what this is. This is
that's
the way it
all
should
business,
be.
though.
But it's all business. But we get off the phone, we're like, all right, love you, dude. See you later. It is great because I don't have to be scared of saying something to you.
No.
Right. And I don't have to say, you don't want me to leave and go to another company, although I may tease about that. Yeah, sometimes. But
it's ReeceNichols on your business card. And I mean, again, back to Jerry, he told Chris a long time ago, the more brains you have working on a problem, the better off you are. I don't want to sit over there in Leawood and make all the decisions. I want people to help me with these decisions. And ultimately, I've got to be the one that says, here's what we're going to do. But if I have Chad Dumas and Don Burns and Amy Ringsdorf giving me information, then I'm better. I didn't think about that. Let's make sure it's collaborative. And agents too. I mean, calling you and asking, hey, what should we be doing here? Or, hey, will you call this person and see if we can get them on board? I mean, that makes us better as a company.
Absolutely. All right. So we can still argue and we're good.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Love it. All right. Number 4, I think, is one app that you can't live without in your life. An app.
I don't know. I'm not a huge social media. I mean,
it could be ESPN app, CBS Sports app.
I probably couldn't live without ESPN app. Yeah. Probably not that. Social media, I don't post a lot, as you know, but I review things. I look at what's happening. I can see if someone's parents passed away or someone has an issue. I mean, I leverage it for that. I mean, every morning when I get in, I read through all that. I mean, watch what your son's doing on the basketball court. Right. Very cool run they had to the championship game. So
keeps you connected.
It does keep you connected. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I got a bunch of apps on my phone, but probably I look at ESPN a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. All right. And then I think we've got the last question, maybe. Okay. This is a good one. Does AI ever replace the real estate agent in our lifetime?
Only if we let it. So again, what we do is way too important. It's an important decision. It's stressful, whether you're buying or selling. It's hard. You don't do it every day. So if we continue to deliver great service to our clients, if we continue to help them make great decisions, I don't think AI can get in the middle of that because this is a relationship business. People are afraid. I mean, you're spending, what's the average sales price? $450,000 now.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a lot of money. And we've got to help people make those decisions. So that's where it comes back to ReeceNichols has to up their game consistently. All our agents have to up their game consistently. And if we continue to do that, we're going to be the number one company in Kansas and Missouri for a long, long time.
Yeah. You hear all these, I call them keyboard warriors out there saying, oh, agents don't do anything and you make all this money, you don't do anything. And then I think about all the deals that we've had that, you have to figure something massive out, right? I mean, I've had houses that I got ready to sell and the house on the right was actually the owner bought the house on the left. They were the exact same house. And when they bought, they had everything switched. Right?
Yeah.
So they've lived there for 15 years apiece and they've actually owned the other house that they didn't live in for 15 years. And so we had to go through all of that. Right. And you've had it where the owner dies and they had it set up with the will, but then that person died at the same time and then it goes to probate. How does AI ever handle all of that? It's impossible.
What about going in and, doing landscaping in the front of a house that needs landscaping or cleaning out a house, there's a hoarder in there, or, hey, I'm going to help you repaint this so we can sell it more appropriately. Some people have some vendors to do that, but some of our agents do that on their own. How do you ever get through all of that and hold people's hands? And the only way that happens is if we let it happen. And I think the lawsuit has done us a favor by allowing us, first of all, to control our own commission on both sides of the transaction, but also to say, gosh, we got to get better. If that's what people believe is that that we don't do enough, all we do is open the door and let people in. Well, that's our own fault. So we've got to be better about describing exactly what we do and delivering that each and every day.
Yeah, I love it. Well, man, thanks for being here.
You bet. I appreciate it.
This was awesome. So if there's any recruits from other companies out there and they want to maybe get a hold of you and say, hey, I'd like to talk about ReeceNichols, what do you have somebody they need to send an email to, or can they send it directly to you?
Right to me, M. Frazier at ReeceNichols.com.
So. M. Frazier at ReeceNichols.com.
That's right.
Taylor will put that right up on the screen and it'll be good.
Yep. Call my cell phone. It's out there. Everybody has it. Like that's what we do.
I love it. Well, thanks again, man. I appreciate it. And let's keep rolling.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Hey, thank you all for listening today. I truly appreciate it. If you would do me a favor, if you're listening on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast, please hit the subscribe or follow button on those. Also, don't forget, we are on every social media outlet you can imagine at the Rob Ellerman team. And that's on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Like there's places I don't even know we're at, I'm sure. So please follow us there as well. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening and hope to see you again soon.